Welcome to our first professional development of the spring. We're going to do Google Classroom today. I am joined with Daniel Vanover, Jason Hicks, and Kevin Marcus. I'm Jesse Roberts, and we are pleased that you are joining us. We are doing this live, so there may be a hiccup or two. This is the first one we're doing this year. If you look in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, there's a comment section. If you have a question during the presentation, go ahead and type that question in here. Mr. Marcus and Mr. Hicks, they're manning the computers, taking questions. And I'll get Mr. Vanover to share our screen, and we'll get into this presentation. So we're talking about Google Classroom today. The sign-in sheet for this presentation is right here at the bottom. You can go to this link, www.wisek12.org/for-staff/PD survey. Watching this video, participating in this video is worth 1 certification credit. If you're wanting to do the module to get additional credit, we'll talk about that at the end. The first thing we need to do is, if you're going to follow along with us, guys, is you need to sign into your Google accounts. If you're not going to follow along with us, that's fine. You can do this at a later time, but I'll give those people a few seconds to do so. Also, guys, if you would like a link to this presentation to have for yourself, up here in the upper right-hand corner is a link to this presentation. Feel free to take it and use as you see fit. So here's a presentation outline of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to utilize this with students. Number one, how to actually start a Google Classroom, how to sign in. And we'll talk about how Google Drive and Google Classroom work together, and we'll go over all the features of the classroom itself, how to add students, how to post information, how to do questions, how to use the calendar, and the gradebook, sort of. Gradebook's a little more labor intensive, but it's still a good little tool, and also how to share this Google Classroom with your students. All right, we'll even take a student view of the classroom also to show you both sides of it. All right, so once you've logged into your Google account, you will go to classroom.google.com. That is the website. Once you are there, you'll have to sign in. Once you're signed into your Google account, your information will be right here in this grayed out box. You will sign in as a teacher. And once again, here's the URL for Google Classroom, classroom.google.com. You will select I'm a teacher, and you'll come to a screen that looks like this. Every Google Classroom that you have created or you are a member of will show up in these boxes. To add a class, you come up here next to your username and hit the little plus button. Over here, these 3 vertical bars is the menu for Google Classroom. Anytime when you're dealing with a Google G Suite app, anytime you see these 3 horizontal bars, that is the menu icon. So when we hit the menu, here is what comes up. You'll have a list of your classes. This is how we can access the calendar, and it will show the Google Classrooms that you have presently available. And there's also some other settings that you can get into also. So now we've logged into our Google Classroom. This right here is the main page. This is the first thing you're going to see when you get logged in. This is the launching pad for everything. As you notice up here in the upper left-hand corner, you have your menu button. You also have these 3 tabs right here. This is how you're going to navigate through Google Classroom. These are the 3 main things we're going to deal with today: is the stream, students, and the about. Also over here to the upper right hand corner, you see select theme, upload video. This is how I added this picture to my banner. You click at it, it'll walk you through the steps doing that. You can add pictures. You do a solid background, whatever you choose to do. So this is the stream, what we're looking at right now. Any assignment that you have to do will show up here. Here's some more stream features that you can turn on and off. And here's a class code. We'll go over the class code a little bit later. The class code is a way that you can add students to the classroom. And if you look down here in the lower right-hand corner at this blue plus, this is actually our stream tools. This is the icon you're going to click when you're adding assignments, doing announcements, doing questions, and adding any kind of information to your stream. So this is the main launching point for Google Classroom. Next thing we're going to talk about is probably the most important thing is how to actually add students into the classroom. You will need to click on this Students tab. Once in the Students tab, let me hide this real quick. You can add students two different ways. You can manually invite them by clicking on the Invite button right here, or you can have the students log into Classroom and put this code in. Me personally, I'm a bigger fan of inviting them myself, because if I invite them myself manually, as soon as they log in, they'll have a message comes up that asks them to join the classroom. They don't have to worry about them logging into the computer, then logging into Google, then inputting another code. This kind of takes one step away, makes it a little bit easier, in my opinion. Whatever you feel comfortable with doing, that's fine. This right here, students can post and comment. This drop-down menu right here is how you control what your students can do in the stream. This might be the most important feature in the Students tab. This will allow you to lock down your stream as tight, or you can leave it as open as you want to. You can lock it down to where only you can make posts. You can lock it down to where only students can post to your comments. You can have it to where the students cannot make a post or a comment. You can lock it down as tight as you want to. All right, so let's talk about adding students manually. To do so, you will hit the Invite button right here. And this will come up. Very important. If you look at this box right here, it says Directory. 9 times out of 10, when you click Invite, Directory won't come up. It'll say My Contacts or Suggested Contacts or something like that. You need to hit the drop-down menu and make sure it says Directory. Once you do that, you can type in your student's name in the search box. And when you find your student, click their name and hit Invite Students. Once you've done that, the students, when they log in, they'll be given a prompt to join the class, and they will be in. And I think that's pretty easy. As you can see in my test class here, I have 2 students, Abigail Roberts and Jason Roberts. Those happen to be my children. So I'm lucky enough to have 2 children in Wise County right now that I can steal their accounts and use for training purposes. Right here is a brand new feature with Google Classroom. This came out in the last few months, is the ability to invite parents and guardians to have access to what you're doing in Google Classroom. You can invite each student's guardian to participate in Classroom. The way you do this is you click this button right here that says Invite Guardians, and you'll input that guardian's email address. So you would have to get the parent's email address somehow. But once you do that, an email sent to the parent or guardian asking them to join the classroom. They don't actually get to see the stream of the classroom. They don't get to see the posts and things like that. What happens is Google will send each parent an email once a week with a list of activities and posts that's happened within this classroom. So if you've done 2 or 3 assignments in Google Classroom this week, parents will get an email saying, hey, Mr. Roberts' class had these 3 assignments, or Mr. Roberts posted these 3 comments. So that's how that works. You can also email all the guardians at once. Say you have some information, maybe upcoming field trip, upcoming party, something like that, and you need to email all the parents. You can click this button right here. It's going to take you to your Gmail, and it will send out a group email to all those parents. That's a pretty neat little feature now. It's just came out in the last few months. Also, every student that has a parent or guardian added, if you come over here, let's see, I got my son, Jason Roberts. If you see the ellipse, if I click it, I can email that student directly, or I can email just Jason Roberts' guardians. So say they misbehave in class or they're missing an assignment, you could email that guardian directly. You know, you don't have to send out a big blanket statement. You could go ahead and just do one-on-one with that guardian. And it goes through your school Gmail, so everything's documented that way. And you can also invite more guardians. You know, say it's a case where mom and dad are remarried, or you know, those situations you get into teaching. You can invite more guardians, or you can remove guardians. Next tab we're going to talk about is the About tab. This is where you'll put basic information about your class. Also, it's a good place to add information like a syllabus. If I'm going to put a syllabus, or I have a class calendar or a website or any kind of information like that, that's where I'm going to put it in my classroom. And down here where it says add materials is where I'm going to do so. I'll click it, and I'll be prompted to do an upload. I can pull it directly from Google Drive. I can bring it from my computer. I can add a URL just like you would otherwise. This is also where you can add other teachers to your classroom. Say me and Mr. Vanover want to co-teach a class. I can invite him to come in and be a moderator for this Google Classroom. He'll be able to do posts, do assignments, the whole 9 yards. All right, so the nuts and bolts of Google Drive, we're in our stream. If you have ever used Facebook, this has a very social media feel to it. This is where all the activity will pop up. This is just like your news feed in Facebook. So we're in our stream. Like I said, the little blue plus down here, this is the icon you will click when you're wanting to add anything to your stream. These are the options you get when you click the blue plus. You can create an assignment, you can do an announcement, create a question, and you can even reuse posts that you've used in the past. So I'm going to do an announcement. Right here is a very new feature with Google Classroom, and I think it's a very beneficial one. You know, when Classroom first came out, when you did an assignment or you did an announcement or you asked a question, it had to be asked to the entire classroom. You couldn't send it to 1 or 2 different kids. You couldn't send it to different groups of kids. That has changed. That's been in the last 2 or 3 months that Google has come out with this feature. So I'm doing an announcement, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come right here where it says all students and click this drop-down menu, and I can select all students, or I can select individual students or a group of students to send this announcement to. This feature right here, the topic, this is new. Now when you do a post, you do an assignment, you do a question, you can give the topic. So if I'm teaching on SOL 6A and I want to do an assignment, or I'm just doing an announcement about SOL 6A, I can put in my topic. I can make a topic SOL 6A. So at the end of the year, when we're getting ready to review for SOL tests, student wants to go in and say they're weak on SOL 6A. They can click on topic on the main stream to go back here. Once you do a topic tab will come up right here, and you can hit a drop-down menu and all the topics will show up. Student click SOL 6A. Every post, every assignment, every question, every announcement that you've made about SOL 6A would be available for them to go back and look at. So I think that's a very useful tool, a great way to organize your classroom. Down here in the lower left-hand corner, these are all your upload options. You could do just a standard text announcement, but you could also add an attachment. You can bring stuff directly from your Google Drive. You could bring in a YouTube clip. Or if you have a URL that you have found, a website that you want the students to go to and look at, you can add the link right here also. Once you've created your announcement, now you are ready to post it. Next one, creating assignments. Like I said before, right here's a new feature where you can select which students will receive the assignment. That's something that I'm pretty excited about. When I found that out back in January, I was pretty happy. So like I said, you hit the drop-down menu, you can select all students, or you can select individual students to use. And once again, you'll give it a title. You can type in instructions about the assignment if you wish. You can give it a topic. Most importantly, you got to give it a due date. Down here's our upload features again. We have attachment. We can add something directly from Drive, do our YouTube video, or we can do a link also. All right. When I add or upload something, the file will show up right here. This is just a slideshow that I threw in there. Now, this right here is important. Down here in the bottom, this is most important thing if you're doing an assignment. If you want the students to actually turn this back into you, you'd need to come to this drop-down menu and make a copy for every student. One of the big mistakes people make early on when they're creating an assignment in Google Classroom, they'll just send out a link or a file to every kid. They'll just put it where every kid can view it or where students can edit it. What happens when you do this, every student is editing the same copy. It's like you've taken your master copy, you've sent it to everybody, and everybody is editing and trying to make changes on that master copy. You need to make a copy for each student if you're wanting them to turn it back into you. Once you do that, you go over here and you click assign, and it will send it out into the stream, and it'll be available for the students. So after you do an assignment or an announcement, this is what your stream is going to look like. It's going to show up right here. Newest ones will be on the top. And if you notice over here on the left-hand side, right here's your assignments box. It says due tomorrow, complete the worksheet. Every time I add an assignment, it's going to pop up right here. Here's the calendar. Every time we do an assignment, on there in the calendar in Google Google Classroom, that assignment is automatically going to be added to every student's calendar. You can also create just a discussion question for students to discuss in the stream. Big thing is the due date. And here, whether the students can reply to each other. If you just want them to reply to you or to the question, you would leave this not clicked. And you can also put it where students can edit their answers. And students here's your upload options. If you wanted to upload something from the watch or something to read to answer this question about. Once you finish that, you hit the ask button. So we're back to the stream. We got our questions. We got our assignments. And you notice right here, once an assignment is put up or a question is put up, it shows you how many people are in your class and how many have finished. We was talking about the calendar earlier. I just want to reiterate where you go to find that. Up here where the menu button is, you will click that, and that's how you'll access that calendar. We'll go live here in a second, and we'll look at all these features again. So students have turned in assignments. How do I grade that assignment? To grade the assignment, you have to click on the link down here for the assignment. Once you do, it'll take you to this page. All the turned in assignments will be right here, and it'll be grouped by their name. Here's Jason Roberts. He turned his in. It's done. I can click on his name. It's going to take me to his file. I can grade it. I then put the grades right here. And once I do that, it's added to, I can add all his grades to a Google Sheet. Go up here to the gear icon, click it, go to copy all grades to Google Sheets. And it will formulate and do a Google Sheet for you. You know, like I said, it has a grade book, sort of. It's just putting it in a Google Sheet. If you're wanting to put it in the TAC or whatever software you're using, you would have to take this over. I do believe TAC will do a CSV upload? It will, but it's kind of not suggested. No, we ain't gonna do that. Don't do that. Don't try this at home. You'd have to do the old-fashioned input it yourself. All right. I'm gonna get out of this. I'm actually going to go to Google Classroom. It's classroom.google.com. I'm signed into my Google account, and here's all the Google Classrooms that I previously are part of. Here's a test class that I was showing you. If I wanted to add another classroom, I'd click the plus button and create a class. You can also join classes this way also. If a student has already signed up for a Google Class or is already a part of a Google Classroom, when they logged in to Classroom, they would show up here. Say you wanted to add them to your class and you were using the class code, they would click the plus, join class, and then put that code. All right. As you notice, down here in the bottom, it has this file folder. All right. Every time you create a Google Classroom, every time a student joins a Google Classroom, in your Google Drive, a Google Classroom folder is created for you. So this right here is I'm inside my Drive in Classroom, and here's all the stuff that's in my Classroom folders. Every time I do an assignment, a new folder is created. I'm gonna go out to my Drive. And right here, if you notice up here at the top, here's my Classroom folder that's been created for me. How you like my fish there, Mr. Vanover? It's nice, isn't it? All right, go into my folder. Here's the 3 different classes that I have: after school, snow days, schools to watch, and the test one that I use to do with trainings. So I'm going to open it up. Here's all the assignments that I've done for this class. Let's see here. Here's a student work that students have turned in. Work that students turn in will be in these folders as well. So I'm in the Classroom. Here's the stream. Here's my students, and here's the about. Let's let you look at the new stream of mine real quick. You notice right here's the topics. I told you about the topics icon. Here's all the topics that I've done so far, just playing around. So if I wanted to add a topic, next SOL I'm getting ready to teach, I could add a topic. It's called SOL 5 or whatever the next SOL is. And I can delete topics if I wish to. You know, that's a very neat way of organization. I click on the SOL 1. Here's all the information I labeled or as a topic as SOL 1. Here's all the information I did for SOL 2. We'll talk about the menu real quick. We talked about the calendar. Let me show you how to get to it real quick. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, here's the menu icon. And here's our calendar. See, I don't have any upcoming assignments, so it's blank. If I add an assignment, it's going to pop up. Make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully that'll help us view it. Here's the Students tab again. I can invite my students. There's the email all the guardians. And right there's the class code. And the About tab. If I wanted to add materials, let me show this to you real quick. Click Add Materials, give it a title. I can upload information. This is where I'd upload the syllabus. If I was doing that, if I had a class website, I could put the link in to my class website. If you had a newsletter, you could do the same thing. And I can invite a teacher. Let's invite Mr. Hicks in here. Now he'll be sending email inviting him to join this class as a teacher. All right, I want to show you the student side of Google Classroom real quick. One day I'll have to explain to my son I've shanghaied his account. All right, so I'm in Google Drive. My son is in my test account. It's not showing up. The incognito mode won't show up. Oh, hold on 1 second, guys. Let me get out of here real quick. How would I do that? It's not going to allow us to do it, is it? Do what? That's it right there? Right here. Okay. Hopefully that fixed our problem. Mr. Vanover's going to check on it real quick. It did? Awesome. I'm inside my son's Google Drive account. Here's the classroom folder that was created for him when he signed up for my class. So now I'm going to go to classroom.google.com. Is it going? Okay, awesome. Here's the class he is in, my test class. If he wanted to join another class, he would enter the class code right here. If someone had manually added him to a class, that class would show up right here in the lower right-hand corner here where the file folder is, would be a button that said join. So if he was joining the class, he would do it that way, or go up here and hit plus and put the code in. So now I'm inside the class, and here's what they see from the news stream. It's just like the one that we saw as a teacher. Here's all the information that he has. Here's all the assignments he's turned in, and he shows that that assignment has been returned to him. And here's all the ones that have been marked as done. He can view his classmates. He can email his classmates if that the feature is turned on. If they go to the About section, this is what they will see. See, I don't have anything added into my test class. I don't have a syllabus. I don't have a website or anything. But if they did, it'd show up right here in this area. All right, so we're going to get out of this. We're going to go back to the presentation. So bear with us real quick. I should be able to exit out of this. Okay. We're back We're back, Mr. Vanover? Good deal. Still on my Hangout screen? Okay. All right. We'll stop presenting. There we go. We should be fixed now. We up and good? Good deal. So that is Google Classroom. It is something that here in the technology department we are very excited about. It's something that we highly promote. I know Mr. Kaiser, he is a huge proponent of it. He really loves seeing us teach about it. He loves seeing teachers using it in the classroom. It's a very powerful tool. It's a great way to store information. It's a great way to get information to students. Me and Mr. Hicks, road history guys, one big application for this is just a depository for information. We're talking about SOL time. It's getting closer and closer. This is a tool that will allow me to get as much information as possible in the hands of students, like review packets. If I give little Johnny a benchmark test and I see he's weak on SOL 3A, 4B, and 9C, I can tailor what I send that student. I can do an assignment just for him or an announcement just for him, sharing my notes, my PowerPoints, video links, YouTube videos that correspond with those SOLs, send them directly to that student, and he has all that information. That's the greatest example of leading the horse to water. That's almost putting his head under. We can give so much information to our students, and we can share so much information for our students. That's the big reason I have always been excited about Google Classroom. And I know this is actually the third time we've done a training video on Google Classroom. There's been tons of stuff that's popped up, new stuff that's came around. And also we're doing these modules through Google Classroom. Here's the assignments for Classroom. If you're going to do the module part, one, you have to create a Google Classroom. Call it whatever you want. Number two, you have to add itrtweb@wisk12.org as your student. Number three, you're going to add a document into your About tab. You can do a fake syllabus. You can do a worksheet. Whatever you want to do, you have to add something to your About tab. Number four, you have to post one announcement and one assignment. Once you do that, we'll go in, sign in to ITRT Web. We'll go in as your student, and we'll check individually whether or not you guys have done that, and we'll give you your credits. Going on here to the end. If you have any questions about anything you've seen today, contact one of us. If you're searching for any other kind of training materials, each of us maintain a YouTube channel. Check those out. There's tons of informational videos on it. Check us out on Twitter. We post a lot of interesting stuff on that, mostly educational, some fun stuff. Once again, if you want a link to the slideshow, it's at the beginning. And right here is the link for the sign-in sheet, www.wisk12.org/for-staff/PD survey. That's all we have for you. If we have one question.
I've got a question. Questions.
Okay.
First of all, ITRT Web is, we need to clarify, that's not the email address.
Okay.
It's just ITRT@WISK.
ITRTweb@wisk12.org is not correct. It'll just be ITRT@wisk12.org. Actually, I'll go in and I'll fix that right now.
The second question, we have someone who asked, where again is it that you create a copy for each student? I missed that.
I'll go back and I'll show that. So Add ITRT at wisek12.org as your student. To individually send information to kids.
To create a copy for each student.
So I'm doing you have to do it through an announcement or as an assignment. So it's just doing an assignment. You go up here to the All Students tab, click it, and you choose which student you want to send the information to. So I go up here and just give this title as review.
The question was about creating a whole, send it all to everybody, so everybody gets their own individual copy.
Oh, okay. 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 So I'm going to send this to just that one student, give this due date. Time is optional. I ain't going to do that. We're just going to call it new ideas. And I'm going to pull something out of my drive. Say I was going to send it to more than one student. Say I was sending it to 2 students. And I want them to be like a review packet, something I want them to send back to me. I'm going to change this from student can view file to make a copy for each student. Does that answer the question, Ms. Trick, better? Okay. So that's how you actually make a copy for each student. And here's how you send to different students, to more than one student. And I'm not going to assign this. I'm going to go back out. Got any other questions? Like I said, guys, if you have any other questions, if you're not watching this live, you watch this later, and you have run across the question, shoot one of us an email. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. Like I said, here's the link to the sign-in sheet, wisek12.org/4staff/PD survey. And that's all we have for you today. We will, actually, Mr. Hicks will be conducting the professional development next week, and we will be learning about Flippity. Flippity is a neat little add-on for Google Sheets that allows you to create note cards, Jeopardy games, all types of cool stuff. So tune in next quizzes. So tune in next week for that. And from the instructional technology staff, we thank you.